Okay, welcome to the series. We'll be talking about how to create simple ASPX form pages with Visual Studio in the language C Sharp. So just to get started really quickly, this is the Visual Studio's welcome page. We'll be going up here to File, New, and then we'll go over to Create Project. And under Web on the left-hand side, click under there, and in here we'll be making an ASP.NET web application. So just click on that, and then down here we're going to name it Simple Form Page. So we're going to be utilizing this page essentially for what a web developer could create a customer input page, so that like if somebody was visiting your website, you could kind of get some information from them, contact information, stuff along those lines, and maybe get in contact with them in the future. So this is in this page. Once you click OK in the previous page, we'll come into here, we'll just click empty, and then don't worry about any of this stuff down here, and then go ahead and click OK. So on the right hand side you have the Solution Explorer, which is all the containers within the solution itself, and that includes the project, which is the simple form page that we just created. So if we go to that and we right click, we go to add, and then we go up to click new item. In here it's going to give us an option of different things that we can add, including HTML pages, you have classes, but for intents and purposes of what we'll be doing now, we're going to add a simple web form, which is an ASPX page. So we'll just give it customer form as the name. Very simple, very straightforward. Add that in, and then this is going to be the design layout of the page. You can see that there's nothing much really on here except the body as a whole, and then this is the design layout for the back. And if you go over to, this is the form page that we just created, the ASPX page. If you click the little drop down, you can click the first selection, and this is the code behind for the web page itself. So we're going to need three things to create a very simple input for what we'll be doing for this first video. So the first thing we'll need is to get an label. We'll drag that in here, and then we're going to click enter, and then we want to add in a text box for the user to enter a name, and then we're going to enter a button, and button will go right below there. And we're going to go to design view, and we're going to just edit the layout of all three of these real quick. So go to format. Once you click on the button and click absolute, this just limits it so you can drag it and drop pretty much where you want the elements to be on the page. And we're going to do the same thing for all three of these just to make it simple. So we'll just place them right here, just give them enough separation so they don't overlap when the page gets rendered. And then we'll do the same thing for the label, drag it right over here, and we need to give them all names. So we reference their names through the IDs in the properties once you click on them. So for the label, we're going to just abbreviate it to LBL for label, and we're going to say user. And then we're going to do something for the text box as well, and you want to give it a label, a description that kind of helps define what it is a little bit. And for text box, it'll be abbreviated to TXT, and we'll say username. And we'll do the same thing for button, but we'll abbreviate to BTN, and then it'll be submit. And we'll also change the name of that, the text where you see button, and we'll make that submit, make it a little bit more coherent. And we're just going to get rid of text and label because we're going to programmatically change it in the back. You could leave it, it wouldn't really matter either way, but this way it won't appear on the page unless you programmatically change it in the back. Or if you did leave the text on there, that labeled default text, you could go down here and click visible and then select false. And then programmatically you can change it in the properties within the back page of the code once a message gets displayed in there. But for right now, we're just going to click that and allow it to be true. So we're going to need to create the event handler that's going to fall into this back page for the button when the button gets clicked. So you double click on the button, and now it's referenced to this BTN submit click. If you go into the design view, you can see for the button it's now going to have an automatically popped up on click btn submit underscore click event handler that gets created once you double click it, so it knows what to reference when the event is once the button is clicked. So we're going to go back over to that page and we're going to create a simple if-else statement. All we're doing is validating whether or not input was created into the username field. So we're going to go into the text, enter text, and it's going to say not equal to. This exclamation with an equal sign is a representation of the literal saying not equal to. And we're going to say blank. So these two closed quotations essentially mean that there is a blank text. And we're going to just create an else statement right here, and then we'll fill in them both in a second. So if the username text is not equal to blank, then that means that the user entered something into that text field. So now for the label, we can just print out, so label user.text, and we'll say that's equal to entered, and we'll give a little exclamation point, and entered. And if it's not if there's nothing in the text box of what the user entered, then we'll just say not entered. So this lets them know that they didn't enter anything and that they need to enter something. Not entered. And then we'll just save that, and we should be good to run it, and we will. There we go. And you can, I have default as secure browser, but Edge is great. I think on here I have Chrome as well. I mean, really you can run these on any of them, even Explorer, but typically I like to just do, you know, ones that are a little more reliable. So if we click submit without entering anything in there, without any text, it's going to pop up and say not entered as we programmed it. But if you enter a name, so we'll say my name, Gavin, and you click submit, it'll change it to entered. So in the next video, we'll cover extending this form into different types of form inputs and how you can get more from your user, drop-down lists, selection lists, radio buttons, whatever we can kind of try to manipulate for the use of this form. And we will do that in the next video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you were able to learn something.